Good, a good day to you, everybody. All our listeners, welcome to this week's edition of Your Big Venture Zone. This is the show that's geared to Gen Z entrepreneurs. And if you're going, what group is that? It's the 19 to 35 year olds. And we're here to support, share ideas, strategies, and provide a community. We actually have a LinkedIn group page of the same name, Your Big Venture Zone, that you can join. And we're about providing a community for a younger generation to help them succeed in both business and life. Our guest this week is Joel Kleinberg of a company called Triversa Global. And Triversa Global supplies promotional products to businesses, organizations, and entrepreneurs who want to engage and market to their customers or their teams or make just a marketing and promotional impact in what they do. Joel is, I'm going to say he's a friend first, a colleague. We've known each other for eons. He has hair. I had hair back then when I knew him. Joel is the president of Triversa Global. Which is a leading promotional products company specializing in custom merchandise, branded apparel, global sourcing solutions. He's got over 30 years in the industry. He's built a reputation for delivering creative, high quality programs that helps brands and companies stand out. He works with major companies across North America to develop impactful marketing initiatives, corporate merchandising programs, and deliver and dealer-driven solutions. He's known for his hands-on approach and strong supplier relationships, both domestically and overseas. Joel focuses on finding the right product at the right price with the right execution. His passion lies in turning ideas into tangible products that not only represent a brand or a company and what they're doing, but that leaves a lasting impression on the people that receive it. That could be your staff, your team, it could be clients, it could be people coming to a trade show that you're in and wanting to learn more about you, right? So, yeah, without further ado, Joel, welcome to the Big Venture Zone.
Hi, David. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Thanks so
Joel,
much.
it's really a joy. Joel, I was thinking, what am I going to ask you today? And we live in a crowded and noisy marketplace. I think you'll agree, right? Especially in the online marketing world. And the one thing I love about promotional products is the idea that it can cut through marketing clutter and it's actually builds more personal business relationships with the recipient who receives maybe a hat, a mug, or a very cool hoodie from the client or their company. Speak to us about this notion of cutting through the noise and clutter and how promotional products does just that.
Well, David, the there's different aspects of promotional products and wants and needs. You look at the corporate side, which definitely Triversa is part of. And what I believe and how we have driven our company for the 30 plus years, promotional products are actually part of the company's brand. So how we approach it, and different promotional companies may approach it in different aspects, but it's part of branding. It's branding your company and your vision, your direction, um, your product, and it cuts through because you're advertising your company through promotional products. So it's not just giving a pen out at a trade show anymore, which actually people still do.
Mm,
It all depends on budgets. But promotional products have evolved over the years. It was always great years to go to get something at a show or when a company gave something uniforms, things like that. So why I think promotional products are an important brand. I call it brand ambassador of your company because that's what represents your what you are doing, what your vision is. So when you say cut through the cutter, I totally agree. This is not, you know, I'll use an example. We're heavy right now on AI and marketing through different platforms online. I'm not going to mention any of them, but all the platforms that everybody uses. And in the backspace in my head, does it really drive revenue? It kind of doesn't, but the products that we're showing drive revenue for your business. And that's why I think promotional products are important. Something so simple as a pen, a mug, and I know those are the basics because there's so much more that really influence what people look at as your brand and what you're trying to do, whether it's actually opening a landscape company. I'm just going to go low scale here, something. Years and years ago, we supplied, um, we were doing t-shirts for a landscape company and, just for the guys to wear. And, so when they showed up at someone's property, they knew who they were. And then one of the gen, what else can I do? And we did something very specific for them. It was a product and he went to each homeowner and gave them out. So he had it, and his business started to grow, believe it or not, because those products people remembered him next year. He didn't have to chase the clients that he cut every year and did snow plowing. And I'm just using that because we specialize in corporate with the large corporations. So I believe that's why promotional products just cut right through.
Yeah, in my work, I work in training and coaching, new business startups or existing businesses. And I actually do suggest from time to time certain promotional products that would work. You mentioned a really good example, and this is what triggered me. And the example was, the lawn cutting service. And I've suggested to some lawn cutting type companies or home service type companies that they do a like a do not disturb thing card that you put on the doorknob. But in this case, it's like, great lawn start here,
Right.
this is what we do. And then on the bottom, have a little perforated, line that you can cut. And
Hmm.
that's a discount coupon for maybe save the HST on your first cut, right?
Hmm.
So, you can be really creative, not only with getting the brand and the name out there, but also a promotional item can really, as you said, it can help drive business your way. Whereas, if you're putting ads up on, the various social media channels, you're one of very many, and you know, there's no surefire way that you're gonna, get customers from that. So, yeah, you know, what's your feeling on that? Like I like that when you focus on the brand and the company's mission and goals, you can really come up with really cool strategic ideas for them.
I'll use an example that just literally just happened this week.
Okay.
I had a client that was very involved in corporate for many years, high level corporate. He quits. I couldn't understand why. I'm not gonna, I don't know if I should mention it, but he opens a food service location and he says, I'm done with corporate. And he has this great product. And I said to him, you're never going to be done with corporate because just of who you are. And you could tell because he would order product initially. He's one little store downtown Toronto, and I would go down and visit him. Good friend after 20 years, and says to me, I want new era baseball hats, and I want the guys to wear these expensive t-shirts behind the counter. And I was saying, okay, but you're just starting up. Yeah, but I also want people to buy these things. Okay. We kind of went back and forth and we met in the middle, but he still did brand items. And he says, I'm never going to do corporate. Well, He's now opening a kitchen and another location, and now he's looking at expanding and doing retail. So I said to him, you know, it's great that you want to order these high-end baseball caps that would retail for 40, $45, which he's not paying, but you know, he wants to resell them at his store. And the expensive t-shirts the guys are destroying behind the counter, getting sauce on them and everything else that you think. And I said to him, what's the plan moving forward? Let's say you have now you're going to have two locations and a kitchen. You want everyone to be outfitted with a uniform. That starts to add up. What's the goal moving forward to save money? As a promotional company, David, I would love them to keep ordering those products.
Yeah.
But here's the difference, how TVG after 30 years still is a mainstay. And this is not only myself, I work with a very good team. Without that team, I don't exist. So that's a good point that everybody should hear is that when you partner with people, make sure that you partner with people that have the same goals and the same beliefs and work with them. So when I spoke to him and he kind of started thinking about it, he goes, maybe you're right, because then I could actually order more t-shirts, more hats. And about a year ago, year and a half ago, it was something so simple. He didn't have a ton of money to do this startup. Like most people, like myself, when we started TVG, we just back in the day, we bought a fax machine, one computer to share, and we just kept looking at the fax machine for orders to come in. That's how old I am. So, and then it just evolved. So we start little and you take baby steps to grow. And he agreed with me. And now we're looking at a different price point. So he can give his good customers that come in a baseball cap. He doesn't have to charge them. And he can still sell his t-shirts and baseball caps because it is a very cool logo. Um, and then we did stickers. Why would anybody today do stickers, right? It's just a crazy thing. Everybody wants a sticker that comes in there, he says. So what he did now is he charges $1 a sticker, and that dollar goes to a charity.
Oh, I love it.
So, and he's ordering more stickers, and it's something so simple that was so did not cost him anything. And he's using this sticker program just to evolve. And it's created such a buzz in the area where he's located downtown. It's not a high-end area, that it's created such a buzz in his new location. He's carrying it over, and there's so much interest. So things like that, promotional companies, you could just open your doors and sell people's pens, t-shirts, all. But we do a lot of custom things for each client. So my suggestion is get to know who you're working with. Know that your person that you're working with is different than the next person you're going to work with. My belief is I work for the client. I have to get to know what they want. I want to know what their budget is. I want to know, listen, there's lots of times we'll price something and someone will say your price is too high. And I say, okay, well, maybe I'm using the wrong manufacturer. Maybe I have to look at a different route. Um, you have to be able to pivot, is what I call, because no one project or no one venture when you open a business is ever the same.
Yeah.
And getting help, and there's one thing that made us successful where some others were never successful. And people say to me, I want to pick your brain after 30 years. How do I put your brain on a computer? You don't. It's repetitiveness. And there's one thing that I always believe, ask questions. Always ask questions.
Totally.
I do it all day long. I'll call people that have been retired in the industry. I will call my competition who I'm good friends with. It's kind of crazy, right? You never want to call your competition. But some of us, there's really good companies in our industry. We're friends, friendly competition, I call it. We help each other out. We helped each other out during COVID. And it's building relationships. And that's in any business that you do, it's all about relationships. And you and I have that we may not have spoken every day, but over 25 plus years, we had established such a relationship. I see you, and it's like it never stopped, right? That's the best advice. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions and never think you know it all.
Yeah. Wow. There are a lot of gems in that, and I hope everybody paid attention and go back if you need to and listen again. You're right. In sales and in business, you've got to ask really good questions because if you don't know, how are you going to serve the person, right? Um, I want I have another question about the industry, but I want to because you brought it up. You've been in business for 30 plus years, and there aren't a lot of companies that are like that. What do you think the three keys? You mentioned a couple, like you have a really good team, you have a shared vision and mission probably in the company, but
Mhm.
what are maybe three or four factors that have helped you last this long? Because it's such a changing environment and a crazy world these days. What is it that's helped with the longevity of Triversa Global?
Well, first, I guess I'm no different than anybody else. I was in the landscaping business before I started. I drove truck. And then when I started Triversa, I guess I always use these words at the office, and they're old school words. And I'll get into the new where we are today because this is very important that people understand that the words eat little, eat long. So Triversa started very humble beginnings, and we maintain that throughout our existence. Um, we it's hard for me to how we pivoted so many times throughout changes, from computers to getting rid of fax machines to AI today. So I always say that you have to be versatile and look what's going on around you and be able to pivot. It's kind of exciting. So we weren't afraid to make those changes, but we kept those humble beginnings. I didn't, back in 2008, we're really dating, guys. We had this huge facility that we had signed up for. We were moving in. We had just taken over another people's book of business. I had flown we have a lot of US clients. So I had flown out to the West Coast to see one of my clients. Everything was fine. But 30 days later, and this is all ties in how we're still here. 30 days later, I was asked to come back. It's never a good sign. I had no idea why. I thought it was the end of that client, and they were my biggest client.
Mm,
I flew back literally for a day with my business partner at the time, and everyone was gone, like in the building. And that was the prior to the crash in 2008.
right. The
And
the
one of the directors there, basically we had to do stuff to restructure, and we got my business partner coming home. We got really scared what was coming. So it was kind of like the heads up. We canceled our building that we were moving into. It was crazy. We lost our deposits. Back then it was huge money. We thought we're going to go out of business. Um, and we just pivoted. And that director actually helped me get through that bad time. He just listened to me. He was a very financial guy. So when you ask how we maintained it, we asked questions. We asked the people that were a lot smarter than us, and there always is someone smarter in the room, how we can adjust and pivot. And that's what we did, David. We're pivoting today. Um, I recently, in the last 8 months, we redid our website. We put AI tools involved. We're transitioning Triversa Global, I guess, out of what I call the 1980 processing world into AI, and it scares people in my office. It scares me, but it's going to happen, and it's going to happen for all the good reasons. I know I talk a lot, but this is something that just recently happened to me. I was really against doing something at TVG. I didn't think this AI tool online was a great idea. I just said, come on, my clients aren't going to go on. They want to be able to source products. It's easy. I was just in Atlanta for a meeting, and I'm older now. I'm not ancient, but I'm older.
Mhm.
And my belief is if I sell to my generation, we'll be out of business. I have to sell to exactly the people we're speaking to today and learn what they want, right? And respect what they want because they're the generation that's going to drive for the next 20, 30 years what goes on in the world. And at this meeting, they're very young people. And two of them said, oh, we love your website. We love the AI tool. And I was there with Ethan, someone who works at my office. And I didn't say a word. He's the one who implemented it. And he's the one I had the argument with about it. I didn't say a word. We walked out. I didn't say a word. We sat in the car and I just turned to him and said, you're right. Go ahead. Do whatever you want.
Wow.
So it's about change and adapting.
Yeah. And creating a good team, asking good
Yeah,
questions of your clients.
believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. You're going to have hiccups. It's not always going to go well. Just before we got on to speaking, we had our little introduction. And I said, I had a terrible night. I was working till 10:30, 11, which I do all the time anyway. But there were challenges last night, big, big challenges. And I woke up today with just a better outlook on it because I got tired last night. I just said, you know what, I'm going to address this tomorrow. And then I saw the email this morning. It just brought a sigh of relief. And, sun's out today. It's a little warm. There's no snow. So I'm a happy guy.
Yeah, yeah. I know. We're getting winter in April and
Yeah,
May. The industry you're in sometimes gets a bad rap, you
yeah,
know,
it does.
as what you provide is sometimes referred to as swag or worse, trinkets and trash. And while those references are not even close to the impact of promotional products and what they can provide a business or organization, walk us through the strategy and the impact you've seen on a marketing campaign you've worked on delivering with a client and why those terms are not the best way to describe the business you're in.
Well,
Like, is there a,
well, there's 2 points what you just said.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree. There's swag, trinkets, and trash because there are companies that just want to sell you anything. They don't take, with any industry, there's good and bad. I don't care. That's what I've learned.
sure,
But some companies will just say, yeah, I don't care. Just buy this, buy this. They don't get to know the client or the project. Never mind just promotional products. When I was in the packaging world and boxes and things like this, you didn't get to know what the person wanted. So we recently did a project last year for a big client. They were oil change kits, and they went to dealers across the United States. And they were very specific for a specific need. And we made a custom box. We put custom packaging in there besides the oil bottle. It was just a huge promotion. We were very specific in the implement in the launch in how it was led up. And it was very successful because it increased their sales by like 18%. That's
wow,
huge. So, I mean, very specific about what you want to do. It took a lot of time, but what happened was because we did that, other departments that I normally would never deal with started to give us some interest. Because in large companies, it's very hard to be the only vendor. I mean, very large vendor, large companies. So, yeah, in promotional products, just in my industry, you take what you do, maybe not to the serious moment, but investigate each project or your venture that you're doing, whether it is grass cutting. You know, we'll use grass cutting. I love this analogy with grass cutting because I used to do it. What type of lawnmowers do you need? How much gas do they take? You know, Do I need a car? Do I need a truck? Do I need a van just to start? You know, what kind of, am I going to put signs out? Are the signs going to blow down? There's so much to think about, even in such a simple business of cutting grass. Am I going to cut the grass on an angle for the client? Am I going to take this extra step? Am I going to promote it? I'm actually on social media and I watch this gentleman who does started snow plowing in Sault Ste. Marie. And he started with one tractor. Now he's got like 60. I can't stop watching this guy, young guy. And he's just built such a huge business by social media. And he keeps promoting it. Now, maybe most of the people, some of the people he doesn't, that don't watch social media because they're older, but he now has such a following. He was able to build a relationship with the tractor factory because now he's bought 60 tractors and he's promoting them and they're giving him free stuff. And it's just, it's amazing how things go. Back then, after the incident I told you in 2008, I had gone back to the West Coast and was sitting waiting to come back. I had actually met a gentleman from China and we established a relationship. He was a young kid. You know, he said he's a supplier overseas. And I always heard this because in our industry, we buy domestically and we rebrand and send it out. We establish a partnership. He's my number one vendor, 25 or whatever, 30 years later,
Amazing.
where we have now partnered with an office with him there. So it's such a relationship, which is our offshore in import, which had we did not know years later when COVID happened and nobody was buying promotional products and we thought it's over.
Yeah.
Were able to procure certain PPE items quicker than anybody. And we carried that. We were very specific of what we brought in. We stayed away from the hand sanitizer because we knew that was going to be all recalled. So we got saved there. But we were very able to help certain companies that needed to have employees to go to work every day to protect themselves. That carried us over, you know, and I had good partners to learn what to give out to people that were good stuff and bad stuff. So yeah, there's lots of stories.
So like pivoting and yeah.
Pivoting is the key. Believe in what you do and ask questions. And you know, you yourself, I think we just had a conversation about a week ago about I said, you know what? It's like you do something every day, you get tunnel vision. I call it tunnel vision. And in our industry, distributors get a lot of tunnel vision. You get very used to going to the same places and doing the same things. It's a very bad habit. And I just said to you, maybe you could take a look at what's going on and, you know, maybe even help us out because you develop bad habits. So, I mean, just ask, tune up, go speak to someone. You do, I do, you know, and, it's crazy, right? You find so many different things and it gets exciting.
Yeah. And you've got to be open, to advice and to learning
You
and
do?
and be humble. Like as you said, you're still humble. You don't know it all, and
No, no. Listen,
asking.
we just had an incident with the bank. I wanted to pull my hair out. I said, really? We can't do this. We've been such a good relationship and we have this, this, and this. And our bank manager or contact, wherever she is, who we didn't really have to speak to too much up until recently, said, nope, can't do that, can't do that. And I said, and I didn't learn this. You don't get unless you ask. I learned this from my client. And I asked, and she said, no. I said, there's got to be a way. There's just got to be. And she goes, fine, fine. I made her so crazy. And then she called me back 2 days. She goes, you know what? I spoke to the higher ups. They said we could do it. I said, thank you so much. And I didn't learn this, David. My biggest client today is a true story, and everyone will like this one. I went out and we were selling them some stuff and just whatever. Back in the day, I didn't have that wherewithal. And the gentleman says to me, quote on this, go back. quote this on this. It was a small order, David. It was like I was wasting more gas driving back and forth. And at the time, someone in my office said, "Why are you keep doing this? You're making no money." I said, "I don't know. I got to get this order." And I was just incensed. We didn't have a lot of clients back then. And it was a big company. And the guy comes into me and says to me, "This changed everything." He goes, "Why would I buy polos from you?" I said, "Well, the price is great. I ran and do that." He goes, "No." Goes, "You're not even wearing," and this is true story. "You're not even wearing a company Triversa Global product. So why would I buy one to get one out?" Dead silence. Didn't get the order. Went back to the office. Felt like about 2 inches high. I said, "All that for nothing. Like, what a dummy I am." I get an email. "Can we set something up for me?" So I'm here. It's my third, fourth time going back for like no business. So I went, embroidered everybody a polo, go back to the office, gives me the order. He goes, "You were going to get the order regardless." And he said to me, "You need to represent your brand." And that changed everything. And he's, it just changed everything for us. So I think we take things to the next level as it means something to us. We're excited about it. I know I'm going on, but if you can take any of these points when you do something, we just did something that has nothing to do with Triversa. It was another side. And I'm so excited for the person that I'm helping do this. But I also listen to them because they're a lot smarter than me with technology. I mean, I think that when you talk about startups, I get excited because you have so many new tools to help you now. Do something. Don't be afraid to do it. Just do it. And you know what? The worst case is doesn't work out and you're going to do something else. Because I started doing many different things before I did Triversal Global. But I'm excited for people to open business. And I don't think enough people in Ontario or in the world right now are actually doing that. And small business is so important.
I know, but CFIB came up with a report in April saying that small business has been on the decline now for 2 years or more.
Well,
And
there's economic factors that I think is happening. I think it was a lot easier for me than it is for people now to open a small business.
I agree.
There's challenges. There's challenges for the younger generation. Where do you live? The cost for stuff is just, but I think honestly, if you got to just do it. And I think that will change you. I think it'll change your direction. And I David, we started with nothing, and I mean 0.0. We had there was there were some funny stories. I mean, I could sit for days and tell you that TVG went out and had a deal on Egyptian cotton t-shirts, and we were going to take the market because we started just in the clothing before we got in the hard goods. And we had a great idea. We bought cases of these. It was a lot of money for us back then. And we went to wash one of them. And yeah, the problem was now we knew why they were a deal. They would just go on an angle after you wash them, and they were a
Oh no.
one-time shirt. And we couldn't sell these shirts, and we just things like that. But people today need to take the risk. It's a risk. It's scary, but it's exciting.
Yeah.
And some people will hit it. I'm watching all these influencers. I'm watching people. I'm learning a lot. We were just away and I had an opportunity to go to an event that I was invited to. I don't get really impressed with a lot of stuff like that. And there were some, pretty cool people there and that whatever you would probably say, can I get an autograph with? Couldn't care less unless they were buying promotional products. That's the way I'm driven. And um, I learned that some of these people, someone showed up in a car that was worth more than my house. And I found out later, oh, it was rented. It was just part of the whole experience. So it's a different way of doing business now.
Yeah.
And you're right, it is on a decline, but that's why it's a time to do it. It's like people say in the stock market, when the stock market's terrible, well, that's the best time to invest.
Yeah. Yeah. Buy low, sell high.
Buy low, sell high, guys.
Yeah. We're with Joel Kleinberg from Triversa Global, and we're talking about marketing ideas, business solutions, and strategy on this week's edition of the Big Venture Zone. I'm your host, David Cohen. Um, Joel, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask this because you've shared so much, and I had questions prepared that you're just answering anyway.
Okay.
So,
I
um,
talk too much.
yeah. So, well, for our listeners, and let's say they are smaller businesses, why should they really consider using the multitude of promotional products as part of their marketing and advertising mix? Like, why should they maybe reconsider, like, instead of social media, maybe do a promotional product campaign?
I believe that when you do promo products, it leaves behind a lasting impression, Dave. Without going on and talking for 5 minutes about it, this is where I get serious about it. I believe if they buy the right product, and they don't have to spend a lot of money to do it, it's an important leave behind. It shows the brand of the company that you're promoting. People remember it. Um, we have tote bags we give out still. Why would a promo company give out tote bags? We started when all the carts went to you got to pay $1 or 25 cents,
Yeah,
whatever. And we had to put a logo of uh, a loony on the side of a tote bag and said, here, whatever, instead of like back in and my clients love them. We give them a tote bag, they love it, put it in their car. We give them the right one now. A cotton one or something that people like, put in their purse when they walk in, grocery store. It's just a brand. We do here, we're giving out drinkware night and day. And then recently I said, no more. I said, because people already have a nice drinkware piece. So unless you're going to give them something to replace that drinkware piece, our drinkware piece is just going to go in the garbage. So let's be prepared to give them a premium drinkware piece so they can keep it. Because you got all the Yeti, the Awalas. I remember 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, my West Coast client said, I want an Awala. I didn't even know what an Awala was. It's crazy. And here we go again, another drinkware piece. So
yeah, and
I think
not
it's important. I think it's important. I think it's to be subtle, but I think it's important that people see a brand, even if it's a notebook and a pen, or it's we're doing these keychains. We just did them at Triversa as giveaways. I was against it. It was, I guess like the Lululemon strap keychains that's really hot right now. So in our industry, we sell those. I now currently have them in 4 programs. People love them. Well, why? I said, why would someone need a keychain now? Car key fobs or whatever. People love them. It's crazy. I'm
yeah.
selling more of these things. Something so simple, so inexpensive. It's
I,
crazy.
I visited you, I guess, maybe back in, it was maybe March, and you
Yep.
were working on a quote for sleeve, like tattoos or whatever, like
Hmm.
printed sleeve. Like, what's that about? And where did that come from? It's like, it's so fascinating. And this is important for our listeners to sort of rethink their thinking as far as marketing goes, maybe look at this a little more seriously. So where did that idea come from? And I think it was for a race you were working on. A company was doing a fun run.
I believe it was it's a bike ride,
Oh, okay.
a bicycle ride event. It's happening in Toronto. It's a big event for charity. I don't like to mention names because I don't know if my clients want me to do that. So
Yeah,
there's confidentiality things. So I'm not being difficult with anybody listening. I'm
yeah,
sorry. I'm just honoring our agreements with our customers. But
sure.
things like that. I mean, but that's getting to know what they want and seeing what they want, not just in promo, in anything you do. It's important to just get to know the business that you want to do, whether you're doing it part-time, full-time. You know, Triversa started for me as a part-time business. I couldn't afford to do Triversa full-time. My wife was pregnant. having our first kid, I was kind of freaking out. I didn't have this. We were sharing a car. How were we going to do this? How was she going to get to work? Daycare was hugely real world problems, right? It's that's so I know. I remember, I know. Um, and yeah, you just get to know, get to know, ask questions. These are it's simple. It's not complicated. Ask questions. Don't think that you know everything. I don't. And be humble and be driven and don't be down on yourself because you're a lot smarter than you think.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I, I honestly had, when I came into this industry, had no experience doing this, zero point 0.0. I asked a lot of questions. I met a lot of people. I met you. You were very polished. I learned a lot from you, a lot more than you think with your coaching. You were very good, polished, and helped me. And I asked a lot of questions, and you were kind enough to take the time to educate me. So, yeah, like people come to me and ask me questions all day long. And this is the first time I've ever done something like this, so I apologize to everyone if I
No,
talk.
you're doing great. This is so rich.
I don't mean to be that way. Um, I'm not a guru. I just had an instant where I reached out to the biggest promotional company in Canada and said, "Hey guys, what do I do with this? Like, what would you do?" And we went for lunch, which I really didn't have time to do, but we went for lunch because they're good guys, and they told me how to fix it. And I was very blessed that they took the time to tell me that. And this is my direct competition. And I drive by this guy's big building all the time to go see my client that's just down the road. And I scratch my head. Why aren't they dealing with him? Whatever. But they took the time. So ask questions. And you know what? Sometimes some things are scary. Even till today, you get into situations, but grind. It doesn't come easy, guys. It just doesn't. And I work, David, I work more than I expect people in my
Yeah.
office to work. I work crazy hours.
Yeah.
I just do because I'm driven, and I don't think that'll ever change for me. And I don't expect anyone to be like that, but I get excited when there's a challenge. It's hard. It's hard. And I get excited and I just grind. And there's always a way and ask questions. And when someone says no to you, listen, we've been fired from clients, 100%. They've gone a different direction. And every now and then I'll call them. New person comes in, just happened. Well, here's a great story for everybody. We had this big program. Nothing was going wrong with it. Big program. A new per contact came in and we just didn't gel for whatever reason. No bad things happened even. And she just said, I want to go in a different direction. Maybe she came with somebody that she's used to dealing with, and that's okay. And the program went away. But what happened was, over time, I guess the other company couldn't do something in market, so she reached back out. I could have said I don't want to been angry and said I don't want to do business with you. So we started doing some small marketing things for her. Kind of left a sour taste. Like I had this big program I don't have anymore. Why are you coming to me for marketing? And then some stuff happened and she left and somebody else came in because it's a very high, sometimes high turnover in our industry. And we got more and more business. Now they're canceling the program and they're just going to do marketing. So things like that. And, the ups and downs behind it, it was a huge dollar value for us that we lost. It was a big pivot right after COVID because we were hurting because no one was buying promotion. There was no events, there was no nothing. Companies weren't spending. But you pivot and you just ask questions and just take the chance to do it. And I think that's why no one's, and I want to see, I don't like to hear, and I know about the CIB because we're members there. I don't like to hear that there's no investment in small business and the government doesn't support small business. It really doesn't, in my eyes. And, entrepreneurship, I think it's important. And I think that if you really take the risk, you'll be so much happier down the road. I think that believe in yourself. There'll be challenges and reach out and ask questions. You're the prime person to reach out to and ask questions for. This is what you do for a living. And
Yeah.
I did. I asked you questions.
And now I
You
ask you questions.
no, but I just we had that history that went back. I don't forget that. That's like the little things. We were joking about it the other day, how the office has evolved and this and that, because we didn't speak for a while and be in touch all the time. So ask questions, get excited what you do, because it is, as much as there's days like yesterday that I just was like at 10:30 at night driving home going, I went and I bought a lottery ticket. I said, okay, I know how I'm spending this 70 mil for sure. And then I thought to myself, would I keep working? I don't know. And I thought I was driving and I was saying, and then I said, yeah, probably, because I kind of like it. I kind of
Yeah,
like
but
what I do.
70 mil would probably.
I may be working under a palm tree, but
Yeah,
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 I would, I get excited what I do.
yeah.
And you gotta grind. Don't forget to grind because it doesn't come easy.
No,
Hey,
and
listen,
enjoy
unless you're an influencer and it does come easy and you pick a product. I mean, my son's got some friends that have just launched an online store and for a very specific, and they're killing it. Um, and they want some promo stuff. So they wanted ABC, and I didn't think ABC was going to work. I told them ABC, I don't think is a great idea. Doesn't mean you can't buy it. And they went with ABC and they did their show, and they're doing another show, and now they're going with one product of the other suggestion. So I'm not always right with things. They came out with a pen highlighter years ago, and I said, who's going to buy a pen highlighter? I think it's still the number one selling pen in our industry 20 years later. So, yeah,
crazy. Yeah.
crazy,
You know,
crazy.
and I remember being inspired for a marketing campaign for a makeup product, eyeliner, right?
Right.
I'm not going to name names because I saw an ad of their product on the back of, it was in my wife's or ex-wife's magazine, like a woman's fashion type magazine, right? And I went, oh my God, I could make a pen like that, right? Let me go in and talk to them. And it was a pen on a rope I wanted because they sold the product predominantly at drugstores in the makeup department.
Hmm.
When I just went to my drugstore this morning, and that's the first thing I see. And I always go, you don't have my color. But anyway, or I buy. No, I'm
Right.
just, but I presented this idea and they just loved it. Because now you go into that store, the drugstore, and you see the makeup people wearing the pen on a rope with the logo and the gold cap, which looks exactly like their eyeliner. So
Hmm.
you can be really creative, and it's just like, don't be shy. Like, if you
Well,
have an idea, do it.
we've done some huge creative programs that some of them are actually really funny and um, really cool. We've done some for even some celebrities that we've done that have been really cool. And it's just you never know where it takes you, but we did things. I look back at some of the things, okay. The client wanted that, that's fine. And it was a sale because a sale's a sale, guys. But then we did some really fun stuff that we put on. I'm doing a project now. It's literally, we're 13 months into it and it still hasn't launched. And the reason I stayed a little bit late last night is now it's been so long since we started this thing. They've changed their logo. So now I have to go and redo. Yeah, yeah. But
Crazy.
I mean, things like that. And we still haven't. But you know what I did with that program? I actually billed them for the changes because I was doing it at no cost because of this big project. But it got to the point where, and this is a good lesson for everybody, it was a first for me. It took so long for us to launch it with all the changes. There was no way of recouping those funds. So I spoke to my client. She agreed. Also suggested it, and we created two invoices for the changes, and and they're sitting with them currently. So hopefully we'll get paid next week.
Yeah, and when things like that happen in your business, you've got to ask the client, hey, listen, I got to charge for this. Are you okay? Like, can we work something out? Just by asking. And you've alluded to it a few times.
I think asking is there's always a way, a workaround. It may
Yeah,
not be the best. We
yeah,
have a lot of orders that sometimes there's a mistake and you really have to own up to it and fix it. And I think that's what separates us from this because we're relying on manufacturers. Nothing's ever perfect. So it's how you fix it, ask questions,
yeah. And find solutions.
and
I had
find.
an order when I was in the industry, like around 250, uh, supposed to be 100% cotton, no, a 50-50 blend golf shirt for a company, right? For a trade show they were at and for their team to wear. Well, you know, the order comes in, embroidered, shipped the shirts. Week later, I get a call. These shirts are shrinking. What the hell? All right.
They
Yeah.
weren't my Egyptian cotton shirts, don't
No,
worry.
they were supposed to be 50-50 blend, 50
Right.
poly, 50 cotton. Well, they were 100% cotton. So I have to go back to my supplier and say, look, you got to be here with me because we got to salvage this and quick, you know? Yeah. Um, we're with Joel Kleinberg from Triversal Global. We're talking marketing, ideas, solution, strategy on this week's edition of the Big Venture Zone. We're almost done because we've covered a lot of ground without me asking all the questions.
Because
Uh,
I talk too much. You can
uh,
tell me.
it,
Just
it,
say I talk too much. It's all right.
it's fine. It's fine. Um, are there any stats? Just a couple last questions.
Yeah.
Are there any stats like that say, yeah, promotional products using that in your marketing, your advertising is maybe even more impactful than we think, more impactful than posting on social media? Like, are there
I
any
think,
stats?
well, I do, listen, we're doing it heavily on social media, so I do think it's important. But like I was told, it's not going to be instant revenue generation. It's 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 part of marketing, your marketing plan. You do need to do that. Um, Social media now is bigger than anything, so that's how we all communicate. Um, there's no more telephones. There's even though I'm on the phone all day, I love talking to people. I love the most there are stats in our industry through Sage and ASI, which are the associations you need to be part of. They
Mhm.
have all kinds of marketing materials and industry stats to read that we do. We go to those shows. You can go to those shows and have learning lessons, which I do sometimes. I There's something interesting. I love to go listen to somebody talk and get a different perspective. As long as it's like this, not too long, because I have ADHD and I really do, and it limits. That's why I probably talk too much. So forgive me. Yeah, there are stats, and everything you do has stats, and it's good to be part of, like you said, CFI, your associations and local community things are very important. Go for your lessons, go for education. We do it. My whole staff does it. We have twice a week, we have what's called PKs, where we have reps come in from factories with product, decoration, facilities come in, and it's either a half hour, an hour, because I don't want to limit because I lose focus, unfortunately. So if I lose focus, and that's the same thing with meetings, right? You lose focus after a bit. They come in and twice a week for a half hour, an hour, different companies every week. We take the summer off because it's a summer short here in Canada, and we get knowledge. So yeah, and we learn about what's going on in the industry, and we ask questions, and we get information. So when we go to the PPAI shows and things like that, you could sign up free. They actually have free courses, and my staff does, and we go learn.
Yeah, it's really important. Invest in your team, invest in learning.
Yep.
Some real gems here today. I'm going to ask the last question just because of for the sake of time. It's 5 years from now. where do you see the industry you're in looking like? Especially with like AI and this modernization. But I still feel like the people part of it is still vital. But where do you see it 5 years from now? What does it look like to you?
We're that's a hard one for me, David. This is like the serious part because you're asking me a question right where I sit today that I'm facing. So, and the positive behind it is that if Triversa, now you're asking, I'm just going to speak from what only I know, and it could be
Yeah.
wrong. If Triversa Global doesn't pivot today, which we are in the process of doing, and embrace the technology, and it may be refined in 5 years. Who knows what kind of government regulations they're going to slap on? They'll put taxes on it. They always do. But if Triversa Global doesn't pivot, and we are in the process of pivoting, and you're talking to someone that generally does not like change, again, that likes things just the way they are, if we don't pivot, we'll be out of business. We even though we're doing really good because it's a different market, it's a different generation, it's different buying patterns. You have to learn. I mean, my God, the change is coming. So, I mean, and it's a good change. It's not a negative change. Cell phones, who would have thought, right? Like crazy, right? But it's not. I recently made new business cards from the office and I actually still had our fax number on them. And the person who looked them took them right off. He goes, "No, we're done with that. Like you've overdone your stay." Um, yeah, there's lots of change where I see in 5 years. I think AI will be a really big part of things moving forward. I think it's a cool thing if it's done properly. There is negative to everything, but I think as people starting a business, I'm not saying AI is the answer, but I'm saying is learn to adapt to change. You have to change. You have to be able to pivot. That's how restaurants survived in COVID. That's how listen, in the States, change. You want change? You in the United States, you can go into any restaurant, buy hats, t-shirts, baseball caps, and they sell them. In Canada, they don't. It's a different mindset and learn just adapt to the change. I think that the generation now, it's harder for them to start a business, but I think once you do, I think you'll be more successful than we could have ever been because you have all these tools to grow now, and I think it's the most exciting time to do it. I think if I could turn back time and start today, I would do not because of my experience. I just have a different way of the after years of doing it that maybe be excited and I'm excited to do new ventures. I get asked all the time, do you want to do something like this? And we are just interested in something recently. So yeah, I get excited to be part of things and say, maybe we should do this. And still guys with no money, we're starting something because we don't know it's going to work. So I'm learning. And then I reach out to people like David and ask questions. What does he think? What do you think in 5 years? David, let me ask you a question.
Um, I I think even with the explosion of AI, there's going to be a part of us that are don't forget the human side.
Yes.
Let's not get too dependent on it, and let's not forget our brain power and to work our minds and use our intelligence and be creative still. I think that's going to be. I think we'll see more of like a two-pronged approach.
Yep.
The human brain power, the human dynamic, and then the AI. I think it'll be a real, I hope, a healthy mix.
If I could leave anybody that's listening with one thing, I don't care what it is, business, and I say this and I'll say it and I'll say it. Business is just simple. It's about one thing, relationship building, period.
I'm going to add, can I add?
Yes, sir.
Trust.
Yes. Well, that comes
Yeah.
if you're an upstanding person and I read these things, never say, I want to be honest with you. That don't say this, don't say that. I only know how to talk a lot. I know how to deliver. Um, I don't know how to say something that's not true because I can't remember. So it just comes out of my head. I have a pretty good reputation for it. I treat people like I want to be treated myself. We've had clients that double paid. We had a client last year that overpaid and we had an order on credit. They're placing an order now. He's in combined with three people. And I sent him an email because we're splitting the invoices between these three people. And I said, listen, you have a 20 something $100 credit with us, but that's just for you. He goes, oh my God, I completely forgot about that. You're the best. Thank you so much. He goes, in return, I'll order more stuff in the summer. Guys, be honest. You're right. Yeah, David, you're right. 100%, 100%.
Yeah, Joel, this is great, and thank you for this.
No, thank you, because you and I are gonna talk so you can help me out. I got lots of
Yeah,
questions about.
I,
So tune up your AI skills there, pal, because I'm still not understanding a lot of it.
I
Let's
know
go.
here too. It's like,
Let's go.
what one do I use? And I feel like other than ChatGPT, there's not much I really need to use yet. But moving forward,
I never used to use it, and I use it now for certain things. Not to even ask it questions. It's just I use it to sometimes for some of my writing just to double check.
yeah, and
Because I'm doing a
strategy.
little bit more, and I'm pretty good now. I never was a great typer in school, but now I'm like a motor on this computer. I don't even look at it. But I mean, I don't listen. AI is not everything. I relationship building. A lot of clients today don't want me to come see them. It's just a different way of doing business. We
Yeah,
can do a Zoom call. We can do a Teams meeting, pick up a phone. People say, why do I still travel for work when we can do this? Because some of my big clients, when you get there, we sit in a boardroom, 5 hour, 4 hour going over stuff, repetitive stuff, and then it's my turn to talk about something that really could take 5 minutes, and then I'm gone. It's
yeah.
crazy, right?
Oh, dude, thank you so much. I was Joel Kleinberg. He joined us from his office in Thornhill, Richmond Hill. Next week on Your Big Venture, join guest Michael Braithwaite. He's the CEO of an organization called Jack or Jack.com, and they do amazing work on supporting young people managing their mental well-being and have a few
Great.
very supportive community programs that are cutting edge. So, Joel, thank you again. Great.
Thanks, David. I'm going to tune in. And hey, question of the day, and I'll leave you with this. Does he buy promotional products?
I'm going to check.
Thank you very much for
Yeah.
having me. I
Oh, what
appreciate it.
what a joy. And for those,
Thanks, David.
you're welcome, Joel. What a
Thank you, sir.
real pleasure.
Thank you.
Um, and for those listening, have a good week. In the meantime, thanks for tuning in to the Big Venture Zone. Oh, I forgot to ask you, where do we reach you to work with you?
Oh, you can reach me at triversaglobal.com. Um, I don't know, should I give my cell phone, give my office number out?
Sure.
Sure, if you guys want, 905-771-6494, Triversa Global. Check out our website. And thanks so much.
And it's TRI Versa, VERSA, and then Global, GLOBAL.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh boy. Again, everybody, thanks for listening. Have a good week.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for
Thank you so
tuning
much.
in.
Have a good week,
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah, for sure. And remember to like, comment, and share this on YouTube. Until next week, do well. That's the goal. Do
Woohoo.
well. Yeah.
Thanks, David.
Thanks, Joel.